All right, well let's figure out how we're gonna wrap it up. Let's do.
You just went back to handguns.
I'm sorry, it's just natural. Okay.
Put those things in holsters and get them away.
Good day, people. My name is Savannah.
I'm Zach.
This is Between Two Realtors.
And
What are we talking about today, Zach?
Oh, yeah, sorry, I did put this together. Alright, so I'm supposed to say something funny now. Let's skip that because I'm not that funny.
That'll just come natural.
Okay. Oh, we're supposed to talk about neighborhoods today. Neighborhoods. Ooh. And like how that's like different in Chicago-esque. It's like the whole city of neighborhoods thing. I don't know what the map is supposed to say. There's like one like right here, but like there's like 70 something.
Yes, there's a lot of neighborhoods in Chicago.
Here. You guys probably can't see it over, but whatever.
We can look at it. It's nice to have for me to look at though, because it'll hit on a couple ones that I may want to talk about. But I mean, I feel like anyone that's looking to live in Chicago that has zero knowledge of the city is always looking at this, and it's very, very overwhelming. Hence our job, because we know this city in and out, we know these neighborhoods. So we'll highlight a couple today that I feel like are very popular, that we get a lot of people living in because they're just very easy, walkable, close to things. So I'll start off and then I'll let you talk about some too. But I guess my favorite neighborhood that I currently live in, and I've lived in the last 5 years, oh my gosh, 6 years? I don't even know, I think 6 years, that's insane to me. Lakeview. North side of Chicago, walkable. Big
explorer, aren't you?
I am planning on. Leave me be. Where have you lived the last 6 years? Actually,
I've been all over the map.
You're right, you have been all over a map.
All over the map.
You have been all over the map. I'm sorry. Okay. Anyway, Lakeview, right? Close to the lake, hence the term Lakeview.
Do you have a Lakeview?
No, I don't. Unfortunately.
So not everyone in the neighborhood gets a Lakeview?
No, unfortunately they don't. You can be close to the lake though. There are different pockets of Lakeview. Lakeview East, you've got Roscoe Village, you've got Wrigleyville. I personally live in Wrigleyville. If you like, hanging around drunk people, that's kind of what Wrigleyville is. But you're really close to bars and restaurants. I never have to really travel anywhere to go out with my friends because it's right down the street from me.
It's kind of interesting though. Like, so you're saying there's a neighborhood, and then you mentioned like 4 different neighborhoods that are literally in one neighborhood.
That's how Chicago is though. Like you've got, and especially with us when we look at our database, right? You've got these bigger neighborhoods, but then within them are smaller pockets, and it's really cool because the map even sections them out. If you look at like a Google map, it'll show you different pockets of each neighborhood. But each little sub neighborhood, is that what we're gonna call them? Sub neighborhood.
Yeah, like I don't know. Yeah.
Has different features to it. Like Lakeview is a neighborhood, but Lakeview East is a sub-neighborhood, and that meaning it's east is closer to the lake. So everything in Lakeview East pretty much borders the lake, and you can walk to it and be able to get to the parks, the trail, everything, because it's Lakeview East. But then if you go to Roscoe Village, that's further west, you're further from the lake, but you get more of a residential feel.
Yeah, it's like nothing like Lakeview East. Like they're different vibes, like completely
totally different. But like both of those in Lakeview, the entire area of Lakeview is walkable. You can go and do things. You can walk to bars, restaurants, shops, grocery stores. You don't really need personally, you don't need a car when you live in Lakeview because everything's at your disposal.
I would never have a car if I lived in Lakeview.
Oh, if I didn't have this job, I wouldn't have a car. Like, it's just not necessary.
You totally park a car in Roscoe Village.
You can, but like parking in Lakeview East is completely different. Like it's very difficult. And I tell clients all the time, the further east you get, the harder it is going to be to park your car. Think about like
very narrow
driving to those buildings that we show right on the border of the lake, right?
I legally park 5 times.
I know, right? I always legally park. It's just impossible, and it's hard, but whatever.
Make sure none.
Well,
please don't pass this along to any of the people that walk around the city giving tickets. I already get enough as it is.
It's true. It's a rite of passage.
I get a lot of grief for it, rightfully so. It's my own fault.
You should budget probably about $100 a month in tickets if you have a car here and you use it frequently. I feel like I budget for at least 1 ticket a month, right?
Yeah, let's just not talk about like.
Fine. All right.
I'll send that to my accountant. Can I write these off?
Well, then why don't you talk about a different neighborhood? So Lakeview and Lakeview East, Wrigleyville, all of these are kind of north of the downtown area, right? Like the Loop, that's where everyone refers to as downtown, the Loop. It's where the business districts are. It's where the Bean is, all the touristy stuff. But why don't you talk about that area a little bit more?
I mean, So like I think like the one like I want to talk about is like the Loop in general, because like when I moved here, it was coming from St. Louis. Like you live in like the city, and I don't know why I didn't like understand that every city is like this, but like Chicago even more so. But you're like, oh, I just want to live like downtown. I want to live like right next to the Loop, or like in the Loop, like in the center of it. Like there's so much happening there. This is all pre-pandemic, people, so like 2016, 2015, so give me a break here. But like, the Loop is like a 9 to 5 like thing. Like it's like its own Monday through Friday, 9 to 5.
Business hours.
Business hours, like, there are dinner places that are open. Even the dinner places like don't stay open past like
6 or
happy
7.
hour, yeah, because everyone's gonna go home, and no one. The pricing in the Loop is so high that people like don't live there unless you're literally there because you walk like a block and a half
to your job.
To your job, where you make a lot of money. If you want to be my client, please, I'm open, available. Clearly, I have time on my hands because I'm doing this podcast right now. But like, what I was gonna say, like in general, is that like the Loop's a great place to like go out and like party on the weekends, though. Like all of like the clubs, the nightclubs, stuff like that, restaurants, like shoot, so many like great restaurants and stuff. But it's also more expensive in that area. So I think like a lot of people when they like transplant in, it's all about like that proximity and ease so that you can like get used to the city and the neighborhood and like kind of get a feel for it. Which I think like we'll end up getting into in like a later episode. That's why everyone moves after their first year of living wherever they end up, and they like end up somewhere else like a year later. Like get me out of this neighborhood, let me move to this neighborhood that I actually spent all my time in. But
also, you didn't talk about this, and I know you're going to, but like pricing, right? The difference between finding an apartment in Lakeview, right, anywhere area of Lakeview versus the Loop is astronomical, right?
Yeah.
So like a studio, just for reference, right? A studio in Lakeview East, I can probably find you something that's not very updated for rent, right? Standard for probably $900 to $1,000 a month, right? In Lakeview East, like a studio.
Yeah.
If you wanted to find something standard in the Loop that was like not that updated and had a decent amount of square footage, what do you think you'd pay in the Loop?
Oh, like $1,200 to like $1,300, and like I'm not talking like even the same size as what you're like looking at in Lakeview. And like a lot of people go to Lakeview and you're like, oh, this is like a New York style apartment kind of thing, like what everyone hears about. You get into like the Loop, you're like, yeah, that's like a New York type style apartment. Luckily, you're not paying a New York price. Like, hey, you're getting a Midwest price here. But like, it's $1,300 for like a studio in the Loop. I mean,
but you give up, so you sacrifice having to take the train, really, because if you're working in the Loop and you live in the Loop, you can leave your building, and it more than likely has an elevator, it's a high rise, it's got amenities, and walk to your office. Whereas if you live in Lakeview East or Lakeview, whatever, in one of those sub areas, you're more than likely living in something that's a 3 flat, so it's got 3 units, 4 units, a courtyard building which has got whatever 40 to 50, but no elevator, and you got to walk to the Brown Line, take the Brown Line downtown. So you're paying less, but you're commuting more. So it's kind of a give and take, but there's not as much to do, like you were saying, in the Loop during the week because it's like business
you end
hours.
up in like other neighborhoods, like whatever like your vibe, your shtick is, like you end up like in those other neighborhoods, whether it's south, west, or north, like you end up branching out from
that's
there.
the cool thing about Chicago too, is like every neighborhood has a different vibe. So it's like if you want to go to Lakeview, I kind of feel like that's a sporty vibe, like okay, I like to go to hole in the wall bars and like chill and walk around, whereas if you go to Logan Square, it's more hipster, and I like music, and I like to lay in the park and like chill and take in the stuff around me.
I mean if you got a nice square like that, you can of course lay in the square, like
or even Lincoln Square, right, which is Ravenswood, and we're talking more northwest, so you're getting further from the lake, but it's very residential. Lots of single-family homes, lots of good schools in the area. Every little neighborhood has its own vibe, and it's very cool when you get to move here and get to experience each neighborhood and feel like what's best for you. Because it's hard, and I can't tell a client, I don't know you, like normally I don't know my clients that personally to be like, well, where do you want to live? What kind of vibe do you want? And that's a very millennial thing. I feel like I'm a millennial when I say that. And I preface with, this is going to sound very millennial of me, but what vibe are you looking for? Because it's true.
I mean, it's 100% true. Like, I think like the worst thing that ends up like happening, and we always feel, I don't know if like the word's like off-put or like if we feel like we're going to be off-putting back, like when we talk to clients, at least like I do, is like I get like a questionnaire or something like that back from like a client, and I'm like, where do you want to live? Or it's like neighborhoods or whatever, like, are you interested in? And I get back like anything on like the north or west side of the city, and I'm like,
that's a 12-mile stretch, my friend.
Like, yeah, like, I don't know about you, but like my entire hometown neighborhood was like 1.5 miles by 1.5 miles wide, like, and there were cases in which I would definitely not live on the one side of my neighborhood growing up, and I would live on the other side. So like giving me now 12 miles of like what we just talked about, like completely different neighborhoods. Like,
yes,
you could live like in the most upper end like part of the city, or even in like just an upper end area of an individual neighborhood, right?
And they're completely different.
And they're completely different from like the walkability of like
Yep.
a different neighborhood, or like the different vibe, or restaurants and shopping. Like there's certain parts of like Lincoln Park where like it's literally like a shopping strip, and you can live like right off of that like amazing shopping strip with like all these high-end brands
Yes.
and stuff. Or you can go to like Andersonville and like have all these cute little boutique like local shops and stuff like that are completely different vibe. Sip your coffee and like have a stroll. You know what I mean?
This is where you have to do some self-exploring, right? Some self-time to think, who am I?
Yeah. Who
and
are
what do you want? Because it's some people love to be at home and they love to sit in their house all day long, and that's completely fine. So then maybe you don't need to be near bars, restaurants, shops. But then there are people like me who I hate being stuck in my house for more than a day. So I want to be close to things that I can walk to. I don't need to have to drive 15, 20 minutes to get to a train line. Like, I need to be in it. But then I know that about myself, and you need to look into your own heart. And in your own mind and soul, and tell me what you want. That's all I need from you, is tell me what you want. If you trust me, and I never want to put, neither do you, we never want to put people in places they hate.
Channel your inner spirit animal?
Yes, your inner,
okay.
Are you a fox that likes to be quiet and quick, or a peacock who wants to spread their feathers? This went down a.
Sorry.
No,
no. Sorry.
We can't talk
I
about
went too far. Too far.
It gives me anxiety.
Well, I guess like with that then, because we're like no matter what like neighborhood you end up choosing, right? Like even within those neighborhoods, you still at the end of the day have to make like a choice on like what's gonna best fit your budget.
Yes.
And like
needs.
And pricing, and like I've also seen this, like there are inexpensive apartments in certain neighborhoods, but then like the neighborhood itself is generally more expensive.
Yeah.
Like, can you like afford to also like live there and actually enjoy the things that are like outside your door kind of thing?
Yes.
So I think like, how do you like end up living in a place where you can actually enjoy all the things that come with that neighborhood? Because like, I don't know, maybe you like to go to the gym every day, but like a gym membership's like another like $20 to $50, like depending on where you want to go in the city, and that's got to be like practical, right? Because people, in case you don't know, it snows. And you do not want to make a mile-long hike to the gym. That would be your workout.
You're not going to the gym.
You're not going to the gym. You just walk to the gym, you walk back, that's 2 miles, you're done.
You're done.
Okay?
You're sweating.
You got like, you don't have to get on the, like, what's like the stair stepper thing, because you already did it. Like,
man,
and,
I
like,
wish everyone could see Zach doing his leg.
There's a video element. They'll all get it. It'll be great. Just go to the Facebook or YouTube page. I know, but but yeah, like
I feel like we talked briefly about a couple neighborhoods, and I know in other episodes we're going to touch on more. But the gist of this is that you really do, when looking for somewhere to live here, need to know what your needs are as a person who lives. Right? It's a day-to-day thing. What do you do on your weekdays, your weekends? What do you need? What do you want to be close to? And then, more millennial, what is your vibe? And then from there, when you have a really good realtor, right, we can help you figure out what's a good area for you.
Can put all those little tiny pieces together,
yes,
and get you a gym on the corner with an independent little coffee shop that only brews Honduran beans or something like that. And
that was incredibly detailed.
I love my coffee.
Wow. Or we can find you a place that's super residential that's got a beautiful sunroom that you and your 5 cats, actually most places won't let you have 5 cats, but that's fine, but like your 2 cats that want to sit in the windows and look outside because you're home with them all day long, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. As a matter of fact, I think that's great. It's less expensive. I wish I loved to stay home because I would spend far less money.
Yeah. I feel like the final thing that we kind of like that always happens, and clients are always, and rightfully so, like you're bamboozled by it, right? Like I would be bamboozled. I know I was when like I first moved up here. So you're on like apartments.com or like one of those other weird sites that we were talking about like last week and stuff. And you're like scrolling through like different listings and you're like, this one's renovated and it's like $1,200. And like you scroll through to like the next one and you're like, this one's like $1,700, and then all of a sudden you get to one that's like $2,200 a month, and you're like sitting there like, these all look the flipping same, like, and I guess like at the end of the day, like a lot of that ends up, obviously location, like the name of the game in real estate, right? But even more so, like the main difference I feel like ends up coming into, you pay for your neighbors.
You do?
You know what I mean? Like, so if you live like in a high-rise building, whether it's like a condo building or like an apartment building, which I guess we can get into like at some other point, but like that's way different than living in like a courtyard building or even living in like a single family home that's been converted to have like 2 separate apartments in it, right? Or living in like your own luxury separated coach house.
All right, well, let's figure out how we're gonna wrap it up. Let's do.
You just went back to handguns.
I'm sorry, it's just natural. Okay.
Put those things in holsters and get them away.
All right, my guns are holstered. Not these guns, though.
No, this has been Between Two Realtors. I'm Zach.
I'm Savannah. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, that whole plug.
YouTube.
LinkedIn.
I'm not on TikTok yet. Coming soon, people.
Not to me. I can't do TikTok.
Yeah. I gotta learn to do some more dance. I'm really talented, but it just hasn't happened yet.
That's what he says.
I'll
All right.
be the next star.
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah. See ya. Bye.